Well, guys, August 10th may as well have come early because we have a few massive leaks in terms of the Z Fold 4 and the Z Flip 4. I know you've heard this a million times already, but stuff just continues to leak. Let's start with maybe the most informational one first. Let's start here. So this one popped up. It's a bit of a brochure that got leaked early, and it has some really good information about the camera on the Z Fold 4. And the good news is the stuff I've been telling you guys for the last several months does appear to be absolutely accurate. Let's make this a little bit bigger. We're going to be having a 12 megapixel wide angle lens, which I believe is the same one we've had for a while now. There is a 50 megapixel primary, so that is a pretty big jump from the 12 to this 50. It is a newer sensor, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's the same one that has been on some other S series phones. Not the one in the Ultra, not the 108, but the one that's on the lesser variants of the S line. This should be a pretty big improvement for things like night photography, for things like shutter speed, detail, so forth and so on. And then the telephoto is going from a 12 megapixel 2x to a 10 megapixel 3x, which I believe is also borrowed from one of the lesser S series phones. But again, this should, I know that it's a lesser resolution, but the zoom is a bit further, and it's going to have, like I said, 3x optical and 30x digital zoom, which they are calling space zoom. So the zoom might be a little bit better as well. I really like this here. So when you're using the tablet screen using the zoom, you're going to be able to see not only where you're zooming into, but you're going to be able to see also the wider photo. So you can see kind of the whole picture as well as where you're zooming into. That is a really, really nice feature. You can also see several different ways to utilize that cover display when you're taking a selfie. You actually have the controls there on the cover display to use the primary camera there to take a selfie with. Really, really nice stuff there. We also have some more information though about that under display camera. So if somehow you did not know, starting with the Fold 3, the selfie camera on the tablet screen is actually underneath the display itself. There's sort of a lattice of pixels, and the camera takes that picture through said lattice. And with the Fold 4, you can see that the technology there is changing a little bit in terms of the kind of pixels that are over top of it from what it looks like, but also they're increasing the pixel density from 94 pixels per inch to 132. So it's going to be much denser. Now this should lead to the under display camera being harder to spot. Hopefully for me, it'll have less of a shimmery look to it because that absolutely makes it unusable for me. But how will that affect the actual camera performance? Because now that camera is taking a picture through an even denser array of pixels. And we know from the Fold 3 that already made the camera not very good. That much we don't really know. Is it going to make the camera even worse to make it less visible? We're going to have to wait a little while to find that part out. Now, we're not done just yet either. We have a lot of information that I just now was able to share, but now we have actual real life in someone's hands photos of the Fold 4. Now, it appears to me that this is maybe someone that works at a Best Buy or somewhere like that. They're getting their units in for a display unit, and this person has taken some pictures and sent it around. And personally, I've seen sort of the renders and the mock-ups of what this gray color was supposed to look like, but this does not look like gray to me. This looks more like a blue color, and I actually really, really like this. Guys, this is the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4, and you can see a few things here. First off, it does definitely look a little shorter and a little bit wider. Now, this is something we've been talking about for a long time. Let me grab my Z Fold 2 and let's see if you can you kind of tell here if I kind of hold these things up at a similar size? Does that look a little bit wider to you? I think it does. It's not a huge difference, right? We're going to need to see the thing actually turned on though, because when you look at this cover display, the thing most people are missing is the fact that it has a really thick bezel on one side. And if you look here at what we've got on the Fold 4, it is very, very thin. So while the dimensions this way aren't changing a ton, this way, because of that hinge changing, it's actually going to be wider than I think you can appreciate until you see the screen actually on. Looking here at the inside, though, again, this does, to my eye, look ever so slightly shorter and wider. I do want to point out that the crease is still there. There were people early on saying, oh man, we saw pictures of the Flip 4 looking straight down with a white screen. Oh, the crease is gone. The crease is gone. No, that was just a white screen looking face down. The crease is still there. Maybe it's a little bit better, but it's definitely still very much visible to my eye. On the back side here, it looks pretty much exactly like the Fold 3, which is fine. You know, it's a little wider, but other than that, pretty much the same look. And then that cover display, which again, if you account for that smaller hinge there, that to me does look considerably wider, which to me is going to make it a much better use case. I think that you can definitely get used to using this, but in a perfect world, you're going to be a bit wider and more similar to that. And I think that that is what we are getting. So there you go. There's the Fold 4 just in somebody's hand, but this particular leaker did not stop there because they also pulled out the Flip 4 as well. And there's not as much to talk about here because, let's be honest, the Flip 4 is really, really similar to the Flip 3. The cover display here is a little bit bigger. The cameras are the same. The battery's a little bit bigger. It's the newer chipset. But other than that, not a whole lot changing there from the Flip 3 to the Flip 4. Not nearly as exciting. To me, the hinge is a little bit different there as well, but I think that the main fun thing here is probably going to be that Fold 4. So there you go, guys. There's a whole bunch more information about the Fold 4 and a little bit more visuals there for the Flip 4. We only have just a couple of days to go until we get the full unveiling. If you want to reserve your hardware, link in the description to do that, and you can save some money by doing so. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.